yeah, somebody needs to make it, and I think the best thing is that Linden Labs produces it. I mean, we have meta chat, yes, correct. It's $3 or something. It's not bad, but this is only a chat, you know.
Yeah.
Again,
Anyone here using the what's it called, the Lumia or the
Maya.
Android?
I have used it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So if you have Android, there is a solution out there.
no, I'm.
Hello, folks. There we go. Starting the stream early, but all right, people, we are live, and what we're gonna do here is we're going to stream the town hall meeting with Ebbe Altberg, who is the CEO of Linden Lab. And it's not Linden Labs. He is Luca, who loves me. That's fine. I very much am honored for this love. And I'm just gonna monitor the in-world situation. It hasn't started yet, so it starts at the bottom of the hour. Ebbe Altberg has come into Linden Lab, I think, 2014, I think. So it's a good 4 years. And he presided over a lot of changes. He presided over the continuation of Sansar, which is in development, still in beta. Sansar, and I think a bunch of people don't know this, was actually started under Rod Humble. So Sansar then came in. I'm sidetracked because I'm actually posting this. On the various networks that we're streaming this. Do you guys who are watching this, have you submitted questions to? Because I think Ebbe is only reading the questions from the pre-asked questions, I guess. Put some different music out. Okay, we're gonna cut over in just a second. Let me just. I should do actually a proper intro. Hello there, and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour without Joe Yardley. This is gonna be a standard joke now. It's not so funny. Joe is doing very well, and she is not. She's not gone. She is not gone. She will come back, but just not today. We're in world, we're in Second Life, and we're gonna cut straight to the live Second Life crowd camera. And we're just gonna see what Ebbe has to say. I'm not gonna talk much. I'm not gonna talk at all. Matter of fact. Let's see. I see Ebbe on the stage. I see a whole bunch of people. This is on four. This is on 4 different sims. The good old trick of 4 sort of adjoining sims, basically, which makes it easier to pack a whole bunch of crowds. So, and it's pretty full. It's not completely full here on the sim that I am at. I'm on sim number 1, I guess. So let's cut to the chase. There's Ziola is joining the Ebbe man. The Ebbe man. Let's cut over here. This music is winding down. And here we are in Second Life. Second Life is alive and well. Can you believe it? Turn the music down. And turn the in-world audio up. Folks on YouTube, let me know if you hear the audio okay. I'm going to bring it all the way up. So folks on YouTube, let me know. Jesus, hey, what's up? So nobody's talking right now, so you can't hear anything. But when they're starting to talk, let me know. So here's a crowd shot. This is the crowd in one of the 4 amphitheaters. All right, so there's only... Let me just inform them. Okay.
Drax, can you post your link to your stream? Where you're streaming this? Thank you.
So did you guys hear that? That was
Really beats everybody.
That was Jessica. Folks on YouTube, can you hear this okay? Good. Awesome. Good.
Her brain is made up of SSDs.
All right, guys, let's get started. Or guys and gals, let's get started. We have a lot to get through today, so I want to be as prompt as possible. And just wanted to say hello. Thank you for coming out. We got, like I said earlier, over 200 questions from about 60 of you, and we had to narrow that down. But we will be sorting a lot of those other questions to the appropriate folks internally, and hopefully you'll see people going into the thread after the town hall meetings and answering some of the questions, particularly a lot of the feature request questions and some of the more technically specific questions. Brett, Linden, and myself are going to be making sure those get to the right people to be seen, and encourage them to answer those in that thread. So keep an eye out there after the town hall. We narrowed down to get to as many questions as we can. We're going to have a different set of questions in our afternoon session. It looks like we've got Draxter streaming this one for us, so it will be available, it sounds like, for those to check out who aren't able to join us. Wanted to thank Ebbe for taking time out of his schedule to join us today and answer some of your questions. Going to go ahead and have him talk for a little bit. I think he's got some stuff he wants to share about Second Life, and those of you who maybe read the blog we got a little while ago about the 15 things coming to Second Life, know that there's quite a bit on the roadmap, and a lot of cool stuff happening. So once we get to that, we'll switch over to the questions. Thanks for being with us this morning, Ebbe.
Thank you. You guys hear me okay?
Sounding good.
Sounding good. Thank you, Drax.
I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming there. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been too long. I feel like it's mostly kind of during the yearly educational conference that I pop in, and sure want to do it more often. So happy to be here and get a chance to connect with you all and talk a bit about what I'm thinking of and how excited I am about what we're doing. I want to start out by just talking about the team. We have an awesome team. From product and Grumpity to engineering with Oz, support and the land development that it's done by Patch and his team, and Brett, marketing side, and Zola, and so many people on all of those teams are such an incredibly dedicated group of people, and it's an honor really to be able to be able to work with this group of people.
Game as well.
They're extremely passionate about Second Life. They're extremely passionate about the work they're doing, and where Second Life is in very good hands. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are focused on growth. I know it comes up every now and then that, with Sansar, what does that mean? Is that the end of Second Life, or are we going to somehow transition you all over to Sansar? No. Second Life and Sansar are two independent teams, two independent products, and the Second Life team is working their butt off to make Second Life better. And we're investing high hopes Second Life to not only continue to exist, but to grow and become Second Life today is better than ever. Performance and the quality is better than ever because of incredible work that this team is doing on every day, and we're going to just continue to go make it better. As part of growth, there are lots of different things that contribute to that. Obviously, a lot of things that the team had been doing for years to make the quality and the performance continuously better and better, but also to continue to add features that make it continually exciting product to for the enable incredible creativity and solutions to be built on the Second Life platform. But the other thing which we mentioned at the bottom of the sort of blog post about the 15-year year we're celebrating now is we're also looking at the economic model that we're dealing with. And like I've been saying for years, land is expensive, and so we're step by step trying to transition how we collect money, which today primarily is land, and we want to find ways to continuously reduce that. And you saw a couple of years ago we did the buy down program that allowed people to get better rates, and what you also saw just very recently, the 10% drop and additional land allotment we did for mainland, which has had a really exciting response and has kept Patch and his team very, very busy with lots of customer transactions and interactions. And at the same time, we mentioned that means we will have to raise fees in other areas. So transaction fees, subscription fees, or how much stuff we free versus what you have to subscribe to get, to sort of shift the model. I kind of liken it to us having very high real estate taxes and very, very low consumption taxes. And we want to sort of shift those a little bit to get a better balance and get land cheaper, that it's easier for people to own and hold land, and that means they have an opportunity to create, and that means that participate in the economy to buy things. So yes, even though transaction fees go up, hopefully we'll make that up in volume so that people that are in that business still come out ahead. So that's that. As you see, also we have a lot of work underway on things to help increase, the creative possibilities with projects like Animesh and Bake on Mesh, and to be able to create even more interesting content, whether it's for your commercial intent or for fun, and we're going to continue with that, as well as the environment control, so that you can have better control of environmental settings, and that's all those projects underway. I can't speak to dates. A lot of these things are in early tests, and we're going to work with you, try to be very open how we test things out, so that we can do it in lockstep with you, and you can test things out and learn from you, so that time we're ready to completely roll things like this out, it's that makes sense to all of us. And then we're also investing in some really long-term stuff, moving our entire grid and infrastructure from our proprietary grid to be based on cloud infrastructure. It's a huge project. Continue to work on that. I don't know how long it will take. It'll probably take most of this year and then some. But that just gives you an indication that we're serious about the long term. I think the cost of hosting by cloud service providers like AWS, by Amazon, and Google, what Microsoft are doing, it's reached a point where it makes sense for us to go to those infrastructures rather than having our own proprietary infrastructure. And it also will enable us to doing some more flexible thing, well, it's geographic distribution of infrastructure to improve performance around the world. Other types of things, maybe different, easier to move between different types of classes of server for different types of performance, or be more on-demand services, etc. But we have not yet decided on what types of features or new models or pricing applications that might have. It's quite a ways away, but it's a huge investment. So I think just take away from what I'm saying here, that we are investing. We're very motivated to grow Second Life. It's not in some sort of pattern. Don't get distracted by Sansar. You can go and check out Sansar if you want. It's free to hop in just like Second Life and try it out if you want, but it's two different products, and I'm happy if you use both. Choose one or the other. It's up to you. Yeah, so with that, I don't want to take too much of our time because we have lots of questions to answer, but I'm super excited about the team. I'm super excited about our future, and yeah, with that, I'm happy to start taking questions. Is Ziola, you're going to ask me questions, or?
I am, yes. As I mentioned before, we got over 200 questions from about 60 of you residents, which is fantastic. Of course, we won't be able to get to all of them, but we will be answering questions in the forum thread after the town hall. So keep an eye out next week for those to be addressed by some of the experts in those specific areas. So we'll get things started right away. Our first question is from Vanity Fair, who is here. Hi, Vanity Fair, and wants to say and asks Ebbe, could you give us some sort of timeline on your plans to move Second Life regions from the server farm over to the cloud, which I know you just talked about a little bit, and could you give us some idea of how much cheaper Second Life land would be once that change is implemented?
Hello, Vanity Fair. I know you. Like I said earlier, I don't think we have. I mean, cost-wise, it's roughly on par with our proprietary infrastructure. So I think there's more opportunities for us to reduce costs on land in how we jigger our business model, more so than a direct reduction in cost of the infrastructure as it cost us to do it. I think those lines of how much it costs to operate our proprietary infrastructure versus going with, third-party cloud infrastructure are probably fairly close to one another. But we also see that the competition between these big players, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, etc., those costs just keep coming down and down and down. They also have a lot of investment in infrastructure, of that infrastructure that certainly can't keep up with solutions. So, cost-wise, I think where it's not crazy to do, and then the features we can take advantage of will make we can have an even better platform than we have today over time. But I wouldn't necessarily attribute the movement to cloud infrastructure to a direct correlation to therefore reduced cost. I think us shifting the business model from primarily being land fees to more balanced between land fees and other fees I think has more opportunity to reduce the cost of land. But there could be opportunities, but we have not yet decided how to take advantage of some of the capabilities this new cloud infrastructure might give us. Maybe they could be lower class hardware servers that would make it possible to lower land cost, or maybe even higher capability server infrastructure that would potentially increase the cost if you wanted that extra performance. On demand, in Sansar, we basically we park experiences or regions, as we say in Second Life, if no one is there using them, which means that those regions in Sansar are less persistent, if you will, at this moment. But that allows us to have a much, much lower cost of the infrastructure because the grid is not always running like Second Life is. And whether we introduce something like that is still to be decided. First, the work of just going to this cloud infrastructure without breaking anything and just everything work as you expect it to work, that's a huge undertaking in and of itself. So we'll start there, and then confident that they will create opportunities for better services, more performance services, and over time, more cost effective for us and you. So it's a smart investment, but I can't really speak to how the move to the cloud will affect pricing directly right now.
Great, thank you. We'll hop right into the next question, which is from Ravina Decor. And Ravina asks, where does Linden Lab stand in the way of how adult content is viewed? What is the future of adult content in Second Life?
Well, I think more or less status quo is cool with me. We want to make sure that it's a very free, open, creative platform for people to be able to express themselves. We want to make sure that everything that happens is legal. We want to make sure everything that happens is by users' choice, so that you can see the content you want to see and not see the content you don't want to see. I just like, adult content is all over the place in physical space or on my cable channels or a few blocks away from where our office is, or it's part of what humans do and want to do. And so the fact that what's happening today, it's cool with me. So we have no plans to making it changes in what people can create and do in Second Life today.
Great. All right, on to the next question, which is from Tyre Sart. I apologize if I mangled the last name there. I think that's correct. And Tyre asks, will there be any modernization of structures like the Linden hubs and other Linden-owned objects, both on mainland and to the developed regions for sale?
Yeah, let me give a shout out to Patch's team over in the Department of Public Works and the moles that our team is working with is a great group of people, and they're very excited. They're working on Linden Realms updates, improving and updating the mainland info hubs, and starting to think about next generation of Linden hubs. So they are excited to make all kinds of improvements to land and experiences Second Life. So more to come there. Patch is the person to talk to about some of those plans, and super happy the team is doing. So yeah, more to come.
Sounds like a lot of cool things are planned.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to get Patch to talk to everyone a little bit about some of those plans in deeper detail if we can. Patch. All right. Next question comes from Animats, and I don't know, was that you, Animats, earlier that was asking about this? Is asking what the plan for mobile is with Second Life.
Well, so before, like we were discussing a little bit before we kicked this off, we're in the early discussion stages. So Grumpy and I, Grumpy, who heads up product here for Second Life, we talk quite a bit about what it would mean to invest in a mobile Second Life experience or product. And so we're trying to figure out how to sort of validate the idea and how much would it take to do it, and what could the value be to us and to you customers to do it. And so we need to understand that equation before we can commit ourselves to doing it. But we're actively working, trying to figure out how to sort of give ourselves confidence that it would be a project to jump into. We just need to understand how big of an investment it is, what kind of a value it can add for us, and what's the return on that investment. So I'm hoping we come to the conclusion that we should proceed and invest in it and go do it. Excuse me, but we're not ready to sort of just jump in just yet. But I hope we come to the conclusion, jump in soon, and so more to come on that.
Great. Our next question is from Pussycat Catnap, who asks, we hear last names are coming back. Can you give us some details for the rollout of that? Will we be able to freely make a last name, or will we be given a pre-made list to choose from?
From what I understand, it will be a pre-made list. You'll also be able to change your first name, and there will be, probably something that it's something subscribers can take advantage of, and it'll probably come with a fee to make sure that it doesn't happen crazily everywhere. So that so sort of have some sort of control over it. And yeah, I see people say they'll pay for it, and so it might be one of those fees that will help us reduce land costs a little bit. We'll see how much that could generate. And one thing I think someone suggested to me, I think it was Grumpy, that for people that script, don't use names, use agent IDs, because you can't assume that a name is, persistent over time. So just think about that if you're a scripter. But yeah, I don't know when this will happen, but I know the team is planning for getting it done, and it's been a highly requested thing, so we're going to go do it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of feedback about that one in particular, and I'm excited. I know a lot of folks are excited about that. E.T. Kingsley asks, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, clearly many of you pay. And free-to-play is the model that, obviously has become a very dominating model for, platforms like this as well as gaming. So I don't think we have any plans to make it required for people to pay to come in and participate in Second Life. And to my earlier points, we just want to get a better balance in how we collect, so that we don't inhibit creation and consumption, but still make sure that it's a profitable business for us and can be a profitable business for many of you that have those intentions. And it might be that as part of upcoming subscription plans, that maybe you get a little bit less than you get today as if you're not paying. So we're trying to figure out, and it will take a while to figure out all the details, but what exactly can a free resident do versus a paying resident, and might be some changes there. But free to play is here to stay.
Awesome. The next question is from Hinswin Guardian, and Hinswin asks, asking for, can you explain how the fees for Lindex and process credit requests are constantly increasing with no perceived added benefit to users?
Well, I think I sort of spoke to that earlier. You might see increased fees because we're trying to reduce land cost. So we're shifting our economic from sort of one side to another side of the equation.
Luca.
And plus, so you're aware, the investment we're doing to make sure that all this money coming in and going out is in compliance with state and federal and global laws is quite an undertaking. You don't see a whole lot of products that have the unbelievable creativity and freedom that we have, with the ability for people to exchange goods and services and make money, earn income, and then be able to redeem money back out again. And so making sure that that's all in compliance is a huge undertaking. We now have money transmitter licenses in every state in the United States. It's been a year process, and it takes a lot of effort to build the systems, tools, and the team to operate these compliance efforts. So that's something that didn't exist many years ago. And if it didn't exist, would put a business model like this at tremendous risk. So huge investment there to make sure we're all safe, and that there's no bad actors that can take advantage of a system like this to cause fraud or money laundering or all those kinds of things. So a huge effort underway there, and that has to be, that comes at a cost. And then that, with what I said earlier, we increase some fees on transactions or marketplace or subscriptions or wherever it might be, again, will allow us to lower land, and we think that's a good trade to be making. So that answers that.
All right.
Luca.
Our next question is from Palisade Coronet, who I believe I see is here. So this was your question, Palisade. When will Animesh and Baked Mesh become available?
So I think it's hard to say exact dates, and we try to refrain from that because it's hard to know exactly. I know these projects are well underway. Some of them are being tested, and we're interacting with users, and I think on the forums we'll make sure that you're all aware of the places that you can participate in the sort of the ideas around these features, and to test these features and make sure it doesn't break things, and to make sure that it's performant, to make sure it has to respect that the tools to create and things are as good as they can be before they sort of become. So I don't know, there are groups and forums and places where these projects are being discussed. So I assume we will make sure that everybody's aware of where those locations are and where those meetings are, so people that are interested in those projects can heard and help us make sure that we get it right. So I think it's things that will roll out over the next couple of quarters or so, but I'm not sure exactly. It'll go out when it's ready, you know. We should have all that this year, unless something more important comes up. You know, you never know. It's hard to super precise on dates, but it's actively worked on and really looking forward to it out soon.
Great. And yes, just to reiterate, we will be having additional Linden staff in our forum threads responding to a lot of the questions that we got. Many of you had multiple questions as part of your post, and we had to narrow things down. So just like I said, keep an eye out for that. Our next question is from Maddie. I'm going to mess up this last name, Ganoid, who is asking, yes, is it possible that Linden Lab will participate again in regular lab chat sessions after the announced SL15B town hall meeting? So I know that for those of you who don't know, we did have a series for a while working with Safia and some other folks called Lab Chat, where we were doing these types of meetings on a more regular basis. So I believe the question is if we plan on doing more conversations like this going forward.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think us spending more time, and I know many of us already spend a lot of time with you, you know, whether it's us with the open source group or other team members, and, you know, that's having meetings with various groups around different subject matter, whether it's around Animesh or whatever it might be, but having more general conversations with where I can speak with you, or other people on the team will meet with you. I think more is better, so forward to hanging out with you and more going forward.
Yeah, I definitely plan to try to push, not that I have to, most of these folks on the team, as Ebbe mentioned, are really passionate and really eager to share as much as they can with the community ongoing and frequently. So I will definitely be working with them to try to get more and more sessions like this going in the world. So thank you for asking that question.
And as part of our investing in Second Life is also that we now have the luxury of Zola being 100% dedicated to Second Life. So she used to split her time between Second Life and Sansar, but we all now get her 100% focused on us here in Second Life.
Yes, it's good to be home. All right. Gosh, we're just breezing through these questions pretty quick, but this next one is a little bit more esoteric, I think, or a little bit more whimsical, maybe is the word I'm looking for. Kind of a fun one. And Coffee du Jour asks, Ebbe, have you read Snow Crash and or Ready Player One? And how do you compare the Oasis as a social and educational space to Second Life?
To be honest, I have not read Snow Crash. It's on the side of my table. I have 2 copies. I probably read dozens of pages before I get in. What I need personally to read a book is like 2-week vacation. I can't do whatever the hell Drax is doing to read like a book every month. Like my wife reads 4 books a week, and I need 3 days of downtime, and then I can sort of get into a book. And so I only get through so many books per year, unfortunately. I have read Ready Player One, but that's almost cheating because it's such an easy, fast read. Saw the movie. That we took the whole team here at Battery Office a few weeks ago, and it was fun. When we're standing there inside the movie theater, I bumped into Philip Rosedale, because he and his group from High Fidelity were there at the same time. Then I turned my head over, and there's Jeremy Bailenson from Stanford. So I don't think people in the movie theater realize that the people that are there, like the most dedicated to actually building things that actually are things, like Snow Crash and Ready Player One, were in the movie theater at the same time. But I think Second Life is the closest by far that exists on the planet today to an idea like that. I am so incredibly inspired and blown away with the breadth and depth of the type of things that Second Life is being used for, and the type of content's being made. All from educators to health professionals to role players to people finding their loves of their lives, people who are able to do things in virtual space that they just cannot do in physical space. There's so many incredible positive stories ongoing. So being extremely motivated working on something like this is very, very easy because it's just so incredibly empowering for so many people. So just feel so fortunate to have the opportunity to do something like this, and can't wait for what we're going to be able to do over the next decades. So now there's, you can do this in all kinds of flavors. A lot of sci-fi tends up being a little bit dystopian. Clearly you can see from Second Life that it doesn't need to be dystopian at all. It can be beautiful, life improving, just incredibly empowering so many people. Tremendous amount of love and sharing and helping and creativity. So it's wonderful, and I just love it. It's awesome. So yeah, good question.
Yeah, that's great. All right, I have a couple of more questions we can go through here. Thanks, Grumpity, for highlighting these for us. This is actually another question from Vanity Fair, who asks, do you see Second Life lasting for another 15 years?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
Better start planning for SL30B. All right.
15 is incredible that it's still such an incredibly successful product. I mean, it's successful to us, and but even better than that, just seeing how successful it is to so many of you, whether that's emotionally, monetarily, or creativity. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So why wouldn't we want this to go on forever? So let's keep it going.
Yeah, I think that I certainly would like to see that happen. We're in the throes of planning for the summer's 15th anniversary / birthday, and it's always a super exciting time of year. So let's see here. Next question is from Venus Petrov, who asks, have you thought about charging residents for each extra avatar created? A modest sum, perhaps $10 USD.
I don't think that particular thing has come up that I've heard of to charge for. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong. I'll let Grumpy and team think that one through, but I haven't heard that idea come up.
All right. Divine Teardrop asks, I would like to know if the teen grid will ever come back.
The teen grid?
Mm-hmm.
Also not something that's being actively discussed. I think actually bifurcating or having multiple grids, I don't know if that's in our best interest. I mean, I would rather try and figure out how we can make it so that those people can be here, and making sure we have the right controls in place to make sure that everybody can be here, rather than trying to have multiple brands or grids. So that would be my preference. So yeah, and there are no plans right now to do so.
One grid to appease them all.
Yeah.
All right. I do have another question here from Palisade Coronet, who asks if there are going to be adjustments to premium accounts.
Yes, definitely, and that's what I meant when I said subscriptions. So when we think of premium accounts, what exactly do you get for free? What do you have to be a premium account holder to get? What capabilities? What premium account levels will there be? How many? What as you increase your premium levels, how many more features and capabilities can you get? And what is then the actual pricing of each of those? It's a large project, but we definitely want to come out with a new premium model that, again, create a better balance of what you should get at different price points, and also make it more attractive so that more people like to subscribe, which then hopefully generates more revenue, which then hopefully allows us to reduce land cost again. So when I say fees increasing so that we can reduce cost of land, it's all of that. It's premium, it's transaction fees, and things we can think of to get a better balance and a better, more fair distribution of how we collect money. Yeah. So yeah, it's this huge, complex spreadsheet with various options as to what goes into what plan, and trying to get limits and features and capabilities and stuff sort of put in the right space, right plans for the right model. So something Grumpy spends a lot of time thinking about.
Great. All right, we've got about 20 minutes left, and I've got about 2 questions left here for you, Ebbe, this morning.
Okay.
So just a quick reminder to everybody, we'll be doing another session this afternoon, I believe at 1. Take a look, and for those of you who can join us again then, that's fantastic to see you. And about 20 minutes left to go. Let me get into these last couple of questions here, and then if Ebbe had some final thoughts after that he wanted to share with you all. It's been fantastic to see you all here this morning. So let's see, another one from Coffee du Jour. What is the future of the lab's commitment to open source development?
Well, the open source client in Second Life, we have no plans to change that. I mean, trying to change that and go closed source for the Second Life client would be a bit nuts, I think, at this point. I mean, I see Jessica perked up there. No, she's, and the work they do, it's awesome. It's incredible. It's super helpful to us. I know many of you, third-party viewers can provide all kinds of unique that are more optimized for various different types, whether it's creators or stuff like that. So we have no plans to change that. Yep, Storm. And so yeah, no plans to change that for Second Life.
Okay, last question here is another one from Palisade. That asks, is Linden Lab planning to advertise SL to attract new customers and keep the population size healthy and sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we spend quite a bit attracting new users every month. and we are investing in ways to continue to improve those campaigns, and this goes all the way from the ads themselves, what networks, what value propositions, all the way to the registration landing pages, registration flows, then the in-world first experience, and we're going to do a lot of testing to see what works best. Trying lots of different things. Brett's thinking about a lot of new different types of campaigns that can attract different audiences in ways and be more targeted. And we also want to test for how things can work if you get a much more focused value proposition throughout this whole onboarding process. So if someone is looking for something specific, they have the feeling of that they're going to get that all the way through the process. Historically been a fairly generic thing, like, here's the value prop, now come to this generic front door, and then we drop you off at sort of at the airport and say good luck. And so how can we get that to be more optimized so that we can get better return on the investment and higher conversion rates and better retention rates? All of that is being looked at and worked on every day. That's more to become more efficient and better at it so that we can help build audience. And it's from landing pages, experience pages. Oh, actually, that's not what we call it. Second, what place pages? It's community gateways. There are all kinds of ways that we constantly try and iterate and improve to attract new users to ultimately not just maintain, but to grow. So it's efforts both on the quality of the core product itself, but also the process of acquiring new users to learn and discover Second Life. So that's we'll never stop trying to make that better. And anything, we're investing more in that than before. So more to come. And it's never as obvious as you think, You think if you just made this thing or this change, and so it ends up being a lot of A/B testing. If we try and acquire a user this way, through this onboarding flow, with this messaging, with this experience, you figured by looking at it that it would clearly be better than this other one. And then you test it and it's not. And you go, and you keep iterating. So it's kind of a...
The last 6 months, it's been dreadful, right?
No, it's not. I'm not sure what gives you that idea. It's actually...
The people around the local hub areas and etc.
Well, we have lots of hub areas, and we spread traffic around different hub areas to try testing all kinds of various implementation. Yep.
I have a really solid question that is not being addressed, and I've been trying to get it addressed for over a year. There's been a lot of environment changes, meaning wind, light, all of those kind of things, and how the physics are affecting different prims and things. There's people here like myself. I have a golf course. There's people with cars and who make cars, and people who make boats and things like that are all part of a big part of Second Life. People like to do the traveling and the flying and all of those types of activities in Second Life. And the changes have affected our game as far as golf. They have affected flying and driving and boating. All of these changes to the cloud. The last 6 months have been really, really trying. When we have golf tournaments, our golf systems aren't working the same. We come to your meetings. I go to the Simon Linden meetings some Tuesdays, and I ask questions about what's going on. Why are these changes happening? Can you answer for them? And they tell us one of the answers I got was, well, we don't even know how wind showed up in Second Life because it wasn't something that was planned. It just kind of showed up. It's affecting our economy. It's affecting our users. They're losing interest because they can go and play another game that's more stable in another environment.
I've heard that too.
How can we get the Lindens to pay attention to our situations and our economies and our communities, come out and do testing with us and be serious about it? Because somebody comes to my sim and spends a half hour maybe investigating something that only shows up, every now and then. How do we get you and your people to take us seriously about what we're trying to create here for you to make your environment more inviting?
Yeah, I can't speak to the specifics that you're talking about. That sounds like technical questions that other people...
They are technical questions, and nobody on your team seems to be able to take it seriously or be able to answer it. They're excuses that are empty.
Well,
Yep, excuses.
We would like you
might
to
think so that they're excuses, but
well, we would like you to take us seriously, though.
Is an excuse.
Well, I don't have an answer to a question because I don't know the answer to the question. That's not an excuse. That's being honest. I don't have an answer for that question. I have no idea what the performance issues on this particular person's place is. So that's a question for...
Well, they're not on a particular place. They're happening on all our
town
places.
Meeting as pleasant as you can instead of interrupting people.
We are trying.
Where you're interrupting Ebbe Linden, please don't interrupt Ebbe Linden or the questionnaire.
Well, we also can't have this large of a group of people talking about a very specific thing like that. So we're going to have to. And I don't even have an answer, so I can't have.
We're asking a general question, Abby. I really believe that because I'm asking a question that impacts many, many communities, and it's about these environment changes that are happening. And we have big commerce coming. We have people who these are things people love about Second Life. They can fly, they can dance, they can play golf, they can play other games like golf with bowling and things like that. All of these bills are being affected.
Yeah, so we have specific channels through support, Patch's team, to bring these things up and to have them help come look and try and understand and diagnose what's going on. Is it your content? Is it someone's scripts? Is it something in our platform? Issues. If we can identify it as a real...
I have a Jahara that's been open for nearly a year now, and I've been muted.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to just ask the people that actually can do this work to just give their answers to it, because I am just quite confident, though, that we have teams that actually do look at these things and do listen to these issues, and that doesn't mean we can solve everybody's issues or do everything everybody wants. I do know that for most people, Second Life is better today than it's ever been, and it's more performant than it's ever been. So if there are other situations where that's not true, we want to know about them, we want to hear about them, we want to try and understand them.
It's better than it's ever been. Like, there's just no one around, like, generally. So how do...
When you say there's no one around, I'm looking at the data.
Dropping around different sims and different places, and there's just no one around.
Well, but I look at the data.
They're all trying to text. It's like we're back in the 1985.
Well, if you look at the metrics of the number of users and what they do, then that doesn't make sense.
Guys, let me just interrupt real quick. Laz and I'm not sure what the other one is speaking. Send an email to patch@lindenlab.com, and I can promise you Patch will give you his attention on this matter.
Yep.
Ebbe's not going to know the technical details of this issue.
Hey.
Yeah, like I said, he may be head honcho, but he doesn't know the technical
Hey.
stuff. That's more of Patches and his team's department.
All right, guys. So we have about a couple of minutes left to go. I don't know, Ebbe, did you have some closing thoughts or some final words you wanted to share before we wrap up here in the next 7 or 8 minutes?
Yeah, thank you for coming. Super happy to be able to answer some of your questions. Obviously, I can't answer all of your questions, either because of volume or specific technical things in nature. And but we do have people who can. Again, just reiterate that I'm extremely excited about the team, the work they're doing. I will continuously improve, continue to invest to make Second Life better. That our goal is to grow and are working on plans for us to be around for a long, long time. And I love this product. I love the community. I love all of you, whether you're happy or angry. It's
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for that. But like, what my question is, do you notice less people or more people? Let's just put it black and white. Less or less people.
From the peak, it's slightly less. At the peak, if we're going to talk about it, at the peak it was
saying like now. You know, you used to.
It's shrunk a bit over the last 8-9 years. Very slow decline. Very slow decline. And we are optimistic and motivated to reverse that trend to start growing.
What I've noticed is that since Space has been promoting on Facebook, do you have any plans to promote Second Life on Facebook?
It's one place we look at for customer acquisition. It's not necessarily a good place to do it for the cost of user acquisition through that channel. But it's something we have and we'll continue to experiment with. We experiment across a lot of different channels. So so my wrap is Second Life is awesome. We're going to continue to make it better. We're investing. We're dead set on growing, and I so appreciate all the work that you all do to make this a great place for all of us. And so I want to thank you with that. But so if that's the end of the official session, I'm still happy to just hang around here and chat. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for giving me the information about Patch. I crashed it out right before you guys gave it to me, but I did hear it. That's been the hardest part of everything we've been trying to do for golf and for the other people that are using the environments is find out who do we talk to.
Patch is a mover, he's a doer.
All right, Drax here. Thank you so much for watching the stream, and I apologize for not muting the troll earlier. Susan, you're right. It is actually somewhat unfair to people who want to engage in the conversation. I just have this thing where I think like, okay, I can out troll the troll, but yeah, it's I shouldn't do that in the stream. Anyway, this is the Drax Files Radio Hour live stream. And that was Ebbe, and it's interesting that this person, Laz, was talking about the performance decline connected to the cloud, moving to the cloud. It's the first time I heard it, and I understand when people are angry and they don't feel that anybody listens to them, and I've heard that before, and I don't want to make a judgment on that, but my experience really is that there are specific people who really want, who need to know this data, and Patch is one of them, and he's leading the team, and he is very approachable. And I'm sure if you own a bunch of sims and you have this huge performance issue, and you contact them, that they will look into that. It's in their interest to figure out what is the performance issue here when they're moving to the cloud. So again, I I understand that, and there are certainly instances where Lindens have not reacted promptly, and we all have these things. In the real world, you call your phone company. I called my internet service provider the other week, and they were pretty rude on the phone. And I'm paying for 200 uh, megabits, and then it was like 60 or whatever down. And I was like, hey, you guys are super slow. And they go like, well, then it's not our problem. And they go like, well, it is. I'm paying for 200. Um, yeah, Storm. Good point here. SL is complex, and it's never been 100% stable, and whatever you call it, legacy code, whatnot. That's right. There's a there Linden Lab or Second Life or anything that is that complex and streaming over the internet is tied to the infrastructure that they haven't built and that they are not keeping up. So we all gotta. It's maddening at times. Trust me, I get mad too. Well, thanks all for watching this, and make sure to tune into the podcast draxfiles.com. You can subscribe to it actually on Stitcher. I'm a big podcast fan. When I'm working or driving, and I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and it's actually really good. I think I met someone who didn't know what podcasts are. Podcasts are basically radio shows, but they're on demand. And you can subscribe to them on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, and it's awesome. Yeah, Storm. Like good addicts do, right? Let's just take one more hit. Storm, that is so good. That is so true. But look, I mean, we have a good time, and there's this where our friends are, and it's a wonderful environment. And I mean, yeah, I mean, Ty, this is like the physical world. I mean, politicians are blamed for everything, and then you say to someone, well, then why don't you get engaged in sort of a civic engagement thing, or run for office yourself or something like that? And it's like, nah. I mean, yeah, it's I mean, it is a different issue when you are a business owner and you feel like they're not really Linden Lab as a provider. It's like you run a little store, and you're renting the store from the landlord, and the landlord is not responsive to your roof leaking. Okay, that's kind of the analogy that I would use, and that can be maddening. But sometimes we live in an outrage world as well, and I understand, I don't want to dismiss it. People are under a lot of economic stress primarily, and that is seeping into this as well. Emily, what do you mean it's the only thing out there right now? There is only one world. Actually, there's also Sansar, and Sansar is really cool. I I live in Second. I visit Sansar. I don't live there. I live in Second Life, and Second Life has just changed my life, changed many other people's lives just by interacting with this unbridled creativity and just witnessing this wonderful just diverse people just doing stuff, and it's just absolutely amazing. um it's amazing. It's been 15 years. 15 years. Okay, I'm gonna cut the stream. Let's listen to the rest of this tune. I think I played guitar on this one. Kel Swan is singing. Oh, this is an oldie. We recorded this in 96. The vocalist is Cal Swan, who used to sing the Transformers theme with his band Lion. Okay, that's it. I see you guys either in Sansar tomorrow or the Our Digital Selves movie is coming out May 18th. We're gonna have a second live premiere. It will be communicated.